Hello guys, now I'll continue with my previous lecture on R Studio. So today we'll have a closer look at the Iris dataset, and we will this is inbuilt dataset in R, and what we'll do, we'll call Iris, and if we just type Iris and run it, it will print all the dataset available in that data frame. So let me quickly run it. So it has some variables which are in columns, and it has number of observations which are 150 observations. So what we do, quickly inspect this data set using structure iris and head iris and tail iris function like we have done previously. So today we'll calculate some basic statistics like mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and correlation for different variables in this dataset. So let's start with the structure. The structure of this dataset is let's run this command, and it will give us the valuable information about the nature of dataset. So as we can see, the output says it is a data frame, and it has 150 observations and 5 variables. And these 5 variables, these are like start with dollar operator. So one is sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and species. So one thing you can easily observe here is if we just type the name of the data frame and place a dollar sign, it will list all the variables or all the column head. So these are the head of each column. So we can have these 5 heads. So we can separately ask for each column. For example, I type iris dollar and then I click sepal length. I can then print only this variable, or I can just have a look at the structure of just this variable. So what I do, I type iris, I type str, and in bracket I type iris dollar sepal length. So you do not need to type everything, just type iris and place dollar sign and then select from the drop down menu. And when you run this command, it will give just the structure of that variable, not the whole data set. So now I'm running this command iris for structure for this variable of iris dataset. So it is giving saying that okay, this is a number numeric, and it has 1 to 150 observations, and each observation is, some of them are printed here. So moving ahead, what I'll do, I'll also this very simple and very nice function which we can use is the summary function. So what I can do, I can just have a summary of this data set. So I type summary, and in bracket I type iris, the name of the data set, and let me run this data set. So it will give you a summary of all the variables. See, sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and species. So this is also a very cute function which we can use. And see, the species, as we can observe, it has given only the frequencies. And why? We may have a reason for that, because when we had checked the structure of iris dataset, it gave us a species as a factor variable. So species is a factor with 3 levels. Okay, so now because as a species is a factor, and it knows that a factor is a qualitative variable, so it is only showing the frequency. Other variables are numeric, and it is considering them as a continuous data and giving all the things which numeric descriptive, which like good for numeric data. So it is giving you the minimum, maximum, first quartile, third quartile, median, and mean. Okay, and next thing we'll do, we'll calculate the standard deviation of one of the variables here. So for that we have a very simple function sd, and then in bracket I type the name of that variable. For that I type IRIS $operator and select my variable. Okay, then let me run this command. Okay, so it will give you the standard deviation of this data set. So what we have learned for now, we have learned how to check how to use $operator for getting the drop down menu of the variables, how to check the summary. A summary will give you a lot of valuable information like minimum, maximum, first quartile, third quartile, median and mean. And if you just want, you are just interested in calculating mean, you can just use a mean function, mean and bracket the name of the variable. So I use, for example, iris dollar, say sepal width. So it will give you the mean of only that particular variable. So what we have done, mean, standard deviation. And similarly, in next video I'll also talk about how to calculate covariance and correlation between two variables. And then third video I'll talk about how to conduct a regression analysis.